Certainly during the course of any individual illness, patients may, their clinical status may change during the course of the illness. The initial response to the virus can generate very high fevers as the person fights the presence of the virus in the body, and sometimes can appear to get better, and people might say the fever breaks, but in other situations that process is set up in the lungs, and people can then develop a pneumonia, which then results in a further deterioration. Other patients may have other organ failures that cause them to further deteriorate. Underlying conditions may come into play. So a patient's clinical status during the course of an illness can change right the way through the illness, depending on what is dominating their symptoms at that time. The virus, the immune response to the virus, the situation of the lungs, and then other underlying conditions that may make things worse. So seeing variations during infection is not unusual. With regards to recovery and then reinfection, I believe we do not have the answers to that. That is an unknown. One would expect that a person who generates a full-blown immune response with detectable antibodies should have protection for a period of time. We just don't know what that period of time is. We would expect that to be a reasonable period of protection, but it is very difficult to say that with a new virus, and we can only extrapolate from other coronaviruses, and even that in there, the data is quite limited. Maria?
Yeah, so to add to that, so there is a limited amount of information that's coming out about the antibody response to people who have been infected. And what we really need to understand is, what does that response look like for somebody who had a mild infection, who had severe disease, who had critical disease, who recovered. There's a study that's recently come out from Shanghai. It's a preprint, so it's not peer-reviewed, that has looked at plasma in 175 recovered patients. And that found, some individuals had a strong antibody response. Whether that antibody response actually means immunity is a separate question. That's something that we really need to better understand, is what does that antibody response look like in terms of immunity. In that same study, they found some patients who had no detectable antibody response, and they found some individuals who had a very high response. So right now the information is mixed. We need much more information from recovered patients. There's more than 300,000 people globally who have recovered, and we really need to better understand what that antibody response is. There are a number of studies that are underway that are looking at the antibody response using different serologic tests that are currently available. Some of these are screening assays, and some of these require high BSL labs that could look at a neutralization assay. And so as soon as we have that information, we will share that with you. But right now, we don't have a full picture of what immunity looks like. And until we do, we can't give a complete answer.